Hey, folks, welcome to episode 59 of the Mile 20 podcast where epic shit happens. I'm Laura and I'm here with my bestie.
The delay fish of Lori. Hello.
Like, we're on the struggle bus tonight with our podcast because we are coming to you via Zoom. We're Zooming each other tonight because Lori is in Florida visiting her mama. And unfortunately, we keep getting delay, as we're trying to connect with each other here. So here's hoping that the podcast goes well.
Yes, deep apologies for any awkward silence when you can't hear one of us because we're pausing and waiting for the other one to respond.
Yeah, yeah. Or it's a menopause moment.
There you go. They do happen quite frequently these days.
They do. They totally do. Well, tonight, folks, we are going to talk about the I-35 challenge. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck is the I-35 challenge? I think we kind of brushed on it a little bit last episode, but what this is, it's a double. A double is when you run a marathon on one day, and this was like on a Saturday in 2021, and then you wake up the next day in a different state for us, and you run another marathon the very next day.
Level of preparedness, I feel like we didn't do anything different with our training when we did this, but the level of preparedness in running the first one, like with the body glide, trying to avoid chafes, is a little different when you're doing a back to back and you know that you have another one coming the next day.
Yeah, yeah. And this was probably, I would say, and like we've done some crazy stuff. We've gone hiking, 40 something miles, like a day and a half before a marathon. We've gotten really drunk the night before a marathon and might have run with a hangover, maybe a little still like drunky drunk the next day. We've done some crazy stuff, but I would have to say that this was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Like athletic wise, like physically challenging, but both mentally challenging.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. It was pretty tough. Although I would say for me personally, I feel like some of our one-off marathons have been more challenging than the back-to-back ones. But I think it mentally. I mean, I think it was difficult, but I wouldn't chalk it up there to being the most difficult ones that we ever did.
Yeah, no, I mean the races themselves were not difficult. I think it was you know, um,
The
just
nerve.
knowing that as you were running the marathon in Kansas City on Saturday. So we ran this race in October, was it October 16th of 2021. And it was just that mentality of I'm running right now and I'm going to do this again tomorrow.
Yes.
It was like a complete like mind screw, like the entire like first marathon. So before we hop into the marathon, you have a mile 20 beverage going on right now?
No, just water. I did have, I spent the day at the beach and I may have had a couple of high noons and a truly at dinner, but yeah, no, just water for me this
I,
evening.
I I got club soda. I've been kind of down in club soda lately. So it's a nice little I get the little like fuzzy fuzz, but without any calories or anything else for that matter.
So you still going strong on your Be Balanced program?
I am. I have about 2 weeks left on it. So we'll see where I end up landing. But I've lost like over 15 pounds so far.
Nice,
So
congrats.
yeah, yeah, thank you. I'm very, very proud of myself. I'm actually like fitting into my smaller pants, but not like the pant. Like I have a pair of pants that I want to wear at the end of April, and I can button them now, but they kind of go right up my ass crack still. So I'm like, so there's room for opportunity, but we'll see if I get there.
Yeah, that's where I am right now with every single pair of shorts I own. Coming to Florida, I was ill prepared and I did not try on any of my shorts until the day before I left. And then I was like, oh, this is bad. Shit's gotta
Yeah,
stop. It's
Yeah.
time to pay the piper, you know.
Yeah, that's why I like kind of did my route where and I started like back in February because I was preparing for like a trip like that and I was like holy cow mama doesn't fit into her shorts. So yeah. Yeah. When the shorts don't fit, that's when you need to like commit.
Yes. There you go. It's like when the gloves don't fit, you gotta quit. If your shorts don't fit, you
You
got.
gotta commit.
So you got an epic week update? What have you been up to this past week?
So on Friday night, this past Friday night, we went to a yacht rock concert
Ooh, how was
in
that?
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Well, it was awesome. We went with my sister, Megan, and my brother-in-law, Keith. So it was the four of us. And I do have a funny story though. So I was getting ready, to go over to my mom and dad's because I was dropping the dog off and I was going to meet my sister and Keith over there. And then I was going to drive up with them because Jim was in Washington, D.C. and he was just driving straight up to Bethlehem. So I had put on my outfit and I was going back and forth on like two pairs of shoes. And I had a pair of black shoes and a pair of like kind of like leopard print ones. And I was going back and forth, back and forth. And I ended up having like a work thing that ended up I had to go and take care of something. And then I'm realizing, like, holy shit, I'm like a half hour late from when I said I was going to be over at mom and dad. So I'm rushing. I got the dog together. I got my bag together, hopped in the Jeep, blah, 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 blah. And now, mind you, now like I'm running late. And I get over to mom and dad's, and they're about like 15, 20 minutes away. And they're north, right? So I get out of the Jeep and I notice I still have the two different pairs of shoes on.
Oh no.
I have never done that before in my entire life. I was like, so I walk in the house and I'm like, okay, now I would make us really late if I went and drove back home 20 minutes to get the shoes and then another. So now I'm backing us up like 40 minutes, right? Because we wanted to go and eat dinner when we got up there. And so my brother-in-law ran over to their house, which was only like 5 minutes away from my mom and dad's. And he grabbed me a pair of my sister's boots. So thank God, like we're the same size, but like, I don't know, her foot's a little bit more narrow than mine.
Yeah.
So it worked. I had some really nice, sweet blisters by the end of the evening, but it
Out.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the yacht rock was absolutely fantastic. I don't know. I love so for those of you who don't know what yacht rock music is, this is like soft 70s rock. That's really what it is. And it's something that, you would play on a bobo or a boat, with a nice little
Elevators,
cocktail.
whatever. Some people used to be called elevator music. Did it
Yeah,
not?
like it's just soft rock music with words,
Yeah.
like "Come Sail Away," right? And I don't know, it just was really really fun. So my sister and I were up dancing, the entire time, and then they hit the casino, Megan and Jim for a little bit, and then we were staying at the Hotel Bethlehem, and it was really, really nice. It was really nice. I had never been there before. This is a historic hotel in downtown Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It was built, I don't know, in like the early 1900s,
Yeah.
and they have done an absolutely outstanding job of like preserving the integrity of the period, but also modernizing things as well. So, and the staff was fantastic. We had a really, really wonderful stay there.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's on the National Registry of Historic Places, I do believe.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I did that and then I got my 12 mile run in on Sunday. And then I probably got in about 12 plus hours of time in my gardens. I have been doing battle with them here in Pennsylvania. And I have, because of all the ice and snow that we had over the winter time, usually I get like, like we usually have a couple of like warm days in December and January. And I usually take advantage of, like kind of straightening up the gardens. We got
No, no
shit for
warm days.
warm days this year.
No warm days for you.
No. So now I'm like, I'm out there like, and it's just more work. And I don't know if it's just more work because I didn't get ahead of it, earlier on, or I'm also like kind of feeling my age now too, where Like, I don't know, girl, on Saturday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to tackle like the whole front of the house. I'm going to freaking, it's going to be my bitch. I got like one little area done and I was like, okay, like I surrender. I surrender. So,
Yes, but
yeah.
you were telling me you were picking out these itty bitty little bulbs that had been propagating all over your gardens too.
I am
So
going
I
to
mean,
dream about
that could
grape
be very
hyacinths. Oh my God, girl. They're like, they took over my gardens and they I don't know just become very very invasive and so I had to dig up I'm digging up dirt in the
yeah.
gardens. So that was, not originally in the game plan, but I was like, just need to go and do it. So yeah, so that's really, my weekends. Now you've been at your mom's for a couple of days now.
I have. And my one request for my mother was that I'm like, I don't care what we do. I just want to be outside and near the water. Like those were my two specifications. So like we've gone to all sorts of little restaurants. Like there's a Bimini bait shack we went to that was like a big tiki hut near the causeway on Sanibel Island. We went down to Margaritaville to catch the sunset. I went out with some of her girlfriends out to dinner. I've had 3 meals with her boyfriend John, so that was fun getting to know him a little better. And yeah, it's been very relaxing and nice. And my mom and I have had a great visit and enjoyed each other's company and been reading and sitting on her. She's got a lovely little patio. Went to the beach today and did more reading. And
Oh, that's what are you reading right now?
I am on. I'm doing the Zodiac Academy.
No
That's still like my juvenile reading. But there's like,
judgment. There's no
yeah,
judgment. None,
there's
none whatsoever.
there's a bunch of different series that kind of all tie into the same world. And the way that they work is that like you don't read all of Zodiac Academy, but you go in between some of the different series. So there's actually like a reading list for you to follow online. Our friend Alyssa, who we went to France with, is a huge fan of this. So she sent me her reading list, like her schedule for reading this particular series. So I've read the first 3 books of Zodiac Academy, and now I'm on the about halfway through the first book of the Ruthless Boys. So I think we do go through the 5 books of Ruthless Boys and then back to Zodiac Academy. So
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I read the first book of Zodiac Academy and I was like, I'm like, and I know you said you're like you got to give it a chance, and kind of get through it. So, but no, that's cool. It's like it's nice when you find a series that you can just connect with, and the book is available to go
yes,
and read like the next book versus like you're waiting right for a book to come out.
yes.
um I've read 2 books in the past couple of days. I read Valerie Bertinelli's Getting Naked. Good book. I liked it. I like Valerie Bertinelli. I don't know. I watched One Day at a Time when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved her in that. And then I just finished up this morning Deception Point by Dan Brown.
Oh yeah, Dan Brown books are
Oh,
fantastic.
it's just so good. I
They
I wasn't
It's
crazy
a lot.
about the ending of this one, but I really liked the book. I liked
Well,
the book.
I'm still holding out. I'm not recommending Zodiac Academy yet. Like I'm on book 4, but it's kind of like Throne of Glass. I didn't really love the first book of Throne of Glass, and it took me a while to dig in before I really understood the world and whether I really liked it or not. So far, I would say
Yeah.
definitely like Throne of Glass better than this, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait and reserve my judgment until I see the full body of work.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Well, and if our listeners have any cool books that you want to recommend to us, please shoot them our way. Lori and I are complete sponges when it comes to books.
Yeah.
We're always asking, friends for recommendations, and we're also offering them as well. And I think we're pretty like just bluntly honest, like when it comes to, books. And it was like, dude, don't read this book. It sucked. Um, you know, but anyway, if folks have, recommendations, that would be great. Now, before we go into the Kansas City, because we both love the Kansas City area. I think we both agree like it is a really really cool town. There is some running news
There
that
is.
has kind of like surfaced, and it was like a really good tickler for us. You want to share that, Laura?
Yeah, this is big news for those of us that are interested in the world major marathons. As most people have been online, consider, the whole Instagram world has been discussing how difficult it is to get into any of the world majors. I mean, I feel like New York City had like a 1% or less chance of getting into New York City this year. London is actually rumored to be discussing making their marathon a 2 day event where they would have Saturday a marathon and Sunday a marathon, both with 50,000 people. So they would be doubling their field size for that particular weekend and hopefully upping the chances of being able to get into the London Marathon. So kudos to them if that actually goes through. They're calling it the Double London Marathon. And I hope that they don't allow people to run them both Saturday and Sunday as a challenge because I would find that highly annoying because everybody is clamoring to run these races, and it would be nice to have those full amounts dedicated to runners.
Yeah, and the London Marathon is coming up for this year. It's the actually I think it's the last weekend in April, and excuse me. And so very very excited because the lottery actually opens up at the end of April as well. So and they don't give you right now a specific date. They're like it's just the end of April. So we're going to be monitoring that. Probably starting like the 18th or 19th of April because they only leave the registration for the lottery open for a week, which
Yeah.
is like, you know,
Yeah.
but it would be really, really nice if it was, the bigger race with 100,000 people, running because either way, like we're going to try to go and get into it through like marathon tours if we can't go and get in through the lottery. So, yeah,
Agreed. But it always has my palms sweaty because, I'm so tired of lotteries. I'm
I
so,
know.
so tired of doing things that other people want to do. Like, go
I
back to
know.
living normal lives, people. I just
I
want
know.
to be the only one that wants to do crazy shit.
Yeah, it is. That is kind of funny. It is kind of funny. All right. So Kansas City. So this was, part of our crazy year in 2021 and 2022, where we just ran a shit ton of marathons,
Well, I
and it
think
was like every week, back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
I mean, we had just ran St. George's 10 days prior to this.
Right.
Less than 2 weeks, maybe two.
Less than 2 weeks, and here we are
Yeah.
going and doing like a double. So let's give our listeners kind of the backstory on this. So I was on the train going into work, and like constantly like looking at like what's the next race, and usually like Lori's got like the whole like you had a list of all of the races, right, that we were going to go and do and stuff, and I can't remember why, like the I-35 challenge. I guess I just saw it and I was like, what is this? And I'm like, oh shit, it's a double. We haven't done a double. And part of me was like, are we really real marathoners if we haven't done a double?
Yes, you are a real marathoner if you
You
haven't done
are. You
you are
are. You absolutely are. Even if you've done one marathon, you
you're a
are a
mar
marathoner. Like
absolutely.
that's it. That's it. So this was like one of those things where I send you a message. I was like, hey, I think we should do this.
We signed up and we did it.
We did. And it was like, I think after we went and signed up, I was like, oh shit, what did I just commit to?
There aren't a lot of races. Like I feel like at this point I was like living a little bit out of the bag and not quite getting all the butterflies and all the nerves that you usually get right before a marathon. This one brought it all crashing back though, because that weekend it was going to be a challenge and we knew it. So Kansas City is Missouri,
Yes.
Des Moines, Iowa, 2.5 hour drive
Up I-35.
up I-35.
Hence, the I-35 challenge.
Yes. And it is a thing that you do. You can register. I don't know about from Des Moines page, but I was just on the Kansas City Marathon page, and they do have a separate tab where you register for the I-35 challenge, and it does register you for both Kansas City and Des Moines. So it is kind of very well streamlined and organized between the two races.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was when we started hitting like because this was part of our 50 states, and like our first go around. And so this was like state number 31 and 32. So when we started hitting the 30s, it was like, oh man, like okay, like yeah, what like we're getting there, I don't know, in my mind, once we hit the 30s, it was like we only have, like 20 something left, 19 left, 18 left. It was like the countdown in my head.
Yeah, 100%. But it was a little bit of a like it messes with your head too. Like we were working towards the 50 states, so then you think like 50 marathons, 50 states, right? But then we've done doubles and we did stuff before, so like by the time we were earnestly, so even though this was our 31st and 32nd state, it was our 40th marathon at this point.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
like, oh my God. So in theory, in my head, even though we're 20 states away, I felt like we should have been like 10 states away.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Now, the race in 2021, it only had about 900, a little over 900 finishers. And in 2025, it had 15, a little over 1,500 finishers. So it's nice to see that like it's increased a little bit in size. Again, I think, last episode we talked about, St. George's has increased, their number of finishers, probably 2021, still a year where not a lot of people were, fully like out with their running schedules, and kind of hitting it like you and I were.
But I almost feel like this was like a big little race because in my mind, when I saw
Agreed.
that there was only 942 finishers the year we ran this, I'm like, how is that possible? Because it felt like it was like 10,000 people out there in my head. I'm like, why did that feel like such a bigger race to me than it actually was?
Because they have the half marathon running at the same time.
Yeah, that's probably it. That would
Yeah.
probably accommodate for that. Yes, because
Yeah.
it felt like way bigger than 942.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I totally agree. Now this one, it has a course limit of 6 hours.
It does. Yes. Now, I don't remember if it was 6 hours when you and I did it because I think we definitely came in over that 6 hour. No, I think we were under that 6 hour mark,
I think
actually.
we're under the 6 hour mark.
It says that they strictly enforce it. I know when we ran it, we saw some finishers that were over 8 hours. And I think there were some that were over 8 hours last year, but so I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, like the rule of thumb is that, and we look at races very, very carefully as well. Because again, we like to have fun, screw around, take our time, and sometimes it's just going to be a bad day, right? But we very, very closely look at what the course limit time is on races. If you are an 8 hour marathoner, you probably want to look for a race that has like a 7 hour like cutoff. Just again, so that way, you're at least closer to like what your time is, you
Or
know.
this lovely trend that some races have of the early start.
Yeah, you could start early. Yeah.
I love the fact that some of these races are adopting this new thing where you can start an hour earlier. A lot of times there's caveats that like they won't be fully set up yet and you get disqualified if you actually finish faster than what you say you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, this would definitely not be one of those. And when we discuss next week, we'll discuss the outcome of actually finishing the Des Moines Marathon, because I find that that's even more interesting when you're looking at doing a double, because you kind of want to take it easy the first day, just so you have something left in your
Yeah.
tank.
You need gas in your tank. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a little trickier when it comes to all that. But they have the marathon, the half, a 10K, and a 5K. on top of everything else. And they do with the challenge, the I-35 challenge, you are allowed to also mix and match. So you can do marathon, marathon, half marathon, marathon, or a half half. And they somehow figure out all of that for the extra shirt you get, the extra medal you get, and all of that. So you can mix and match distances for the I-35 challenge, which I think is nice as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is cool. Now this race was on a Saturday, so the 16th of October, and we flew in the day before. And we headed out to the expo. And the expo was kind of cool. It was at their Union Station in downtown Kansas City.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. There was something really cool about just, the old train station. And it was a decent expo. Wasn't huge, but it was decent.
It was decent and it was in a beautiful Art Deco train station.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Like I find that those medieval those Midwest
I'm tracking you. Medieval in the Midwest. Yes, I'm tracking.
those Midwestern cities, I think a lot of them saw like their big boom heydays in the early late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, the industrial era.
Yeah, lots of like Art Deco and they had all that beautiful attention to detail in their architecture, which I find so amazing and really cool to see. And Kansas City is just ah, so nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've done a nice job preserving some of their stuff.
Yeah, and I was bummed because my friend Teresa, so she's one of my West Point classmates. Her and her husband live out in Kansas City, and I think we missed each other by like 45 minutes or something. She was in that area, and when I finally wrote her, I was like, hey, because I'm like, who lives in Kansas City? I'm like, oh my God, Teresa does, and totally missed each other. Now, cool thing is that we're going back to Kansas City the weekend of like June 19th. So Jim and I are going out there, and then there's a bunch of like different couples and gals that from my reunion 2 weekends ago from West Point, and a whole bunch of us are getting together. Teresa and her husband have a restaurant that is like right outside of Kansas City, and we're all like invading the restaurant one night and all getting together out there. So I'm excited about that. Jim and I are flying in a little early, so because he loves jazz music, so I thought maybe we could go and hit like a jazz club. And I know you and Dave went back to Kansas City after we went to Kansas City. So
Yeah.
I'll have to hit you up and see what places you guys went to.
Well, I'll just go ahead and talk about the one that I highly recommend because I
Yeah,
kind of put it in as a little footnote. Somebody recommended us going to the Green Lady Lounge, and
Green
it's
Lady
super
Lounge. Okay.
cool. There's an upstairs and downstairs. He and I kind of had a hard time finding a place to sit just because we got there a little later. So I would recommend an earlier start, to see if you could get a seat. But yeah, it's super cool atmosphere. Green Lady
Good.
Lounge.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that. I greatly appreciate that. Yeah. But I mean, again, there's like just some really cool areas in Kansas City and like just phenomenal food. And now I loved you reserved the hotel for this trip, and it's the Raphael, and it's at Marriott. But it's an old historic
I do
hotel.
it. I thought you did this one.
Did I do this one? Yeah. So this is a Marriott, and it's an old hotel. And oh my gosh, it had so much charm. It just, I don't know. I really loved it. And again, I think that they did a really fantastic job of renovating the hotel, but maintaining the original character of the building.
Yeah, it was a beautiful old historic hotel built in 1927.
Yeah. And it was really close to the start
Yeah.
for us.
Well, was it though? Because we drove. We
Well, it wasn't, but it wasn't like super far away. Like it wasn't like we had to drive like an hour to the start. It was down the road, but it was not in walking distance. I should have clarified. It was not in walking distance of the start. We did have to drive to the start, but it wasn't a very far drive for
No,
us.
and I feel like it was really easy to park and to get in to the race start and everything. That wasn't a big
It
deal.
was. It was very low stress, in that regard. Now, what did you think about the course? It was hilly, that course.
It was hilly, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
real. Not a lot I remember about the course, and there are some little changes from when we ran it. They've actually kind of beefed out the course a little bit, so there's not so much out and back like what we did some out and backs,
Yeah, we did.
but they've kind of made some of the loops a little bit bigger. So I kind of appreciate that, but so I don't know, I can't attest to that. The parts that I did remember are again like with Fargo. I felt like the one thing that stood out was when we went into the old jazz corridor where there were theaters on the old theater on both sides,
Yes. Yes.
and they've cut that out and back out. So I'm like, I remember that, but that's not part of the course
Well,
anymore.
do you remember running through the really ritzy neighborhoods? It was towards the end of the race,
Yes.
and the rumor on the street was that the Kansas City Chiefs Coach Reeve was like lived like somewhere in one of those neighborhoods.
Yeah, I think that was down Ward Parkway, and that was also one of my favorite parts because it was
Yeah,
really fun just looking at all the houses and everything.
yeah,
Very
yeah. So it was like, where's Andy Reid? Where is he? Where is he? But yeah, those houses were absolutely spectacular. But again, a lot of neighborhood running and just a lot of hills. This was like and I know that we had looked at the elevation of both races, before we ran them because of doing the double. But I think again, once you're in it, you're like, God, I gotta save some juice for tomorrow, because I'm running tomorrow. I'm running tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe
Now,
running tomorrow.
right. Now the weather I feel was like really optimal for us. It started out cooler,
Yes,
right, in the 40s, the low 40s, but it ended up being in the mid 60s, which was nice. We ended up in like tank tops but at
yeah,
the
it was
end.
perfect. I don't think it gets much better than that.
No, no. I mean, again, the weather was great both days for us when as we went and did this double. So, like in terms of what we did, because again, we got in like on Friday and the race was on Saturday, and then right after we finished the race, like we hopped in our car and well, we grabbed some food and then we hopped in our car to go up to Des Moines. Now we'll talk about Des Moines next episode. So we didn't have a lot of time, like post the race to like really hang out and stuff. So anything we did in the Kansas City area was really like Friday night, Friday afternoon, Friday night, before the race.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of the reason why I was so excited to go back with Dave.
Yes.
Was just to kind of dive a little deeper because I felt like I got a little taste of it on
I
that
skimmed the
Friday.
surface, like completely skimmed the surface. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot more there. What's cool about Kansas City is I guess it's just so underrated. Like when you Kansas City was Vegas before Vegas existed. So they had a big boom in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then when Prohibition hit the country, for some reason, there was a little caveat. Kansas City still rock and rolled. Like they still had all their bars open. So people flocked to Kansas City like people used to flock to Vegas. So it has that, plus it has like this whole multicultural feel that you don't expect. Like there's just a lot of diversity within Kansas City, and it comes out in their food and the music scene. I mean, I don't know. I'm a fan.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm a fan of the town. I mean, I like there's definitely like barbecue, like Kansas City barbecue.
Yes.
I like Kansas City barbecue. I'm more about like North Carolina barbecue. But it's just because I'm not like a big saucy, kind of gal. But I their food was absolutely fantastic. Now you had kind of pins a place you were like, we're going to this place, for lunch. So it was the Q39 barbecue.
Yeah, we pretty much
And
got off the plane and went straight there.
yeah, and that was a good lunch. That was a
That was
really good
good.
lunch.
Yeah, there was a kid that I worked out with that recommended it. He had spent some time in Kansas City and he's like, yeah, this is the place you got to go. And I agree. It was delicious.
Yeah, and the inside of the restaurant was kind of cool as well. If I recall, it was kind of like a little bit, I don't know, it was like a little bit of industrial kind of esque.
Yeah, it was like that industrial rustic.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was really cool. And then, after we got our packets and then we at some point in time in all the mix there, we did do a mile 20 drop, and dropped our alcoholic beverages off at mile 20 because we're like, yeah, we're gonna need this. And but then we walked around like the little downtown area, outside of where our hotel was. Now, this isn't like in the downtown area of Kansas City. It's kind of like on the western fringe of the city, but they have like a lot of really cute like little boutique shops and I don't know. I just enjoyed walking around and kind of checking out the vibe of the area. And they have a lot of fountains out that way as well, don't they? I can't remember how many fountains they touted, but there were a lot of fountains out there.
There were a lot of fountains. This particular area where we stayed, it was like where our hotel was Country Club Plaza. Again, this was another place that was built in like the 1920s and it was considered like Spanish revival. So there was like a lot of terracotta roofs and tile mosaics and fountains and yeah, it was really pretty. Lots of shopping, more upscale shopping and restaurants. And we found a little place that we stumbled across that I loved because when Dave and I went, we stayed back at the Raphael where we stayed because I wanted him to experience that. And then we went back into this little place. It's called Made in KC Marketplace.
That
It's
was a cute place.
it is. It's almost like a upscale little flea market, I want to say, but it's like Kansas City artisans and it's like a gift shop where they had Christmas ornaments and I don't know, paper
It was
goods.
so unique. Like the gifts were so unique.
Yeah.
And I do recall like buying an ornament in that shop. Now I was actually looking at staying at the Raphael again, kind of for the same rationale that you did with Dave.
Yeah.
But I found this place called the Fontaine. So that's
Ooh,
actually where we're going to be staying. It is like literally like 2 or 3 minutes away from the Raphael. So it's in that same area.
yeah.
And that's where we're going to be staying in June. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. Now we did grab pizza the night before this race.
Yeah, we went
Um,
to Minsky's Pizza Joint.
yeah, and that was good pizza.
Yeah, it was very good. It
Yeah.
was very good. Highly recommend that. That was only like a couple minutes. I think we did drive there because of the mile 20 drop, but
Yes, yes.
I don't think it was all that far from the Raphael either. But it was, yeah, highly recommend that. It was very good.
Yes, great gluten-free pizza. It redeemed the St. George's fiasco.
Absolutely. Yes. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I remember the cool neighborhood on the course, but I mean, it was such a whirlwind in Kansas City. I don't remember all that much of the
No,
course.
it was like and that's the I want to say like that's like kind of like the sad thing about like doing a double. Like I don't know, my brain, like my body and my brain were in Kansas City, but like then all of a sudden my brain started going like to like, okay, what like the next race? Like, okay, what do we have to do? And are we both healthy? I mean, the whole thing with doing this with like by yourself is one thing. But when you're doing an endeavor like this, for like over 2 days, it's really like you're checking in with each other like constantly. How is your body feeling? How are you feeling? Are you doing okay? And the fact that both of us woke up like the second morning and we were both like intact and ready to go because like some races like shred us,
Yeah.
and we were both very, very fortunate, that there were no injuries, no blisters, nothing major, that would prohibit us from going and doing the second race. So I feel like we were really blessed.
I would agree with that because I was terrified of like chafing on chafing,
Right.
blisters on blisters. And I feel
uh,
like, yeah,
uh,
I feel like we got through that relatively well. And
I totally agree.
did you feel like, I don't feel like we really, people might be thinking, what did you do to prepare for that?
Nothing. Nothing different. Nothing different. we didn't put in more miles.
No.
We didn't like it was just we're just gonna keep running,
Yeah. I
like
think that we also were doing back to back to back to back marathons in short periods of time anyway.
yeah, like less than a week apart from each other.
So we did have the benefit of having a lot of miles under our belt already, just on a
Right.
normal, endeavor. Like we weren't training up to it and then tapering or anything like that. But we were only a few days, it felt like, off of St. George's by the time we landed in Kansas City.
I totally agree. I totally
Like
agree. Yeah.
I definitely think that for this, we made sure we were eating, before and in between the two. And we made sure, like, I know I was like bathed in Body Glide.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I know you use Body Glide. I use at the time I was using baby butt paste, for my chafe spots. So that way, again, like you don't want to go and put on your sports bra on Sunday on top of chafing. Like that is just not what you want to do. So everything on Saturday was about like I need to go and keep this body like as pristine as it possibly can be because man, I'm gonna go and be challenging it, tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um,
it was like a lot of extra stopping, relubing. Just if we needed to walk,
yeah.
we walked. If we ran, we ran. It was just being very loose and relaxed. And it was more like a warm up.
Yeah, yeah. Now the end of the Kansas City Marathon, I remember seeing it because there was like a little grassy area and they did have some barbecue that they handed out, right? Like after the race, which I thought was really nice. Like, because again, like we were all about like the food. But I do remember there was a guy who was with his family and he was walking. It was his first marathon, and we were like just chit chatting with him and stuff. And then, like, as he was walking away, we were like, oh, he's going to be hurting bad. Like, I don't know if you remember that guy, but like, because this happens, like, especially when you run your first marathon and, it's very common to all of a sudden your body, like after like, moving it for a bunch of hours, pounding, the pavement for 26.2 miles, like your body is just like screw you and everything just starts to like lock up and it hurts and
Well,
this guy.
especially when you finish and you sit down and you
Yes.
sit for like an hour and don't move.
Move, and movement is key. I mean, this guy got up and he was walking like the Tin Man from like the Wizard of Oz, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But I
Yeah,
do,
thank
I do
God we
remember
didn't
that.
feel like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's exactly it. So the shirts, I mean, I didn't pull the shirt or the medal out. But I actually I didn't keep the shirt. So I don't think for me it was like something that was memorable. I want to say it was a unisex shirt. And
It was a gray t-shirt that had one of the buildings in Kansas City across the chest in white, and it was a dark gray t-shirt, but it was kind of nice because it was that like cotton, tech cotton, so it felt more cottony, but it was a tech shirt. All I know is
that's not the one that looked like you had
yes,
like the little titties. Like,
yes,
oh, that's that shirt.
that shirt. That was Kansas City. Like I have a picture of just my upper set, my chest, and it was like very distended with the white building across it in the perfect spots.
And then the two little white things that were on the building landed right on like where your nipples would be for your boobs. And it
Yeah.
was like some dude created this shirt.
Yeah. I still have the shirt, don't wear it very often. Or if I do, I wear it like under
Oh,
something.
dude, now I don't think I have that shirt anymore. I think I dumped that one because of that, of the two. I think I recalled calling that my nip shirt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one got discarded, as well. But
And I
but
feel
the
like the metal was really cool. I feel like it had a fountain on it. I don't have any of that down here with me in Florida. I totally
Yeah,
forgot.
and I didn't grab it tonight, but the metal was decent. Like the metal was really really decent. I don't know if it's changed like over the years, but it wasn't like exorbitantly big, but it wasn't like, oh wow, well thanks for the medal. It was a nice medal.
Yeah.
No. Question for you: Would you do this? Set aside the I-35 challenge. Just looking at Kansas City, would you do this race again?
I would do Kansas City again, yes.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I would recommend Kansas City. I
Yeah.
don't know what else Kansas has to offer, but I would recommend anybody doing Kansas City just because Kansas City is a great town. So that would just be a fun destination.
Well, this would be a Missouri. This would be a
Oh, Missouri.
Missouri
Yes,
race.
yes, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. We flew back into Kansas though. Flew through Kansas City to do our Kansas race. But yes,
Yes.
this one in particular one was Missouri.
Yes. 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 Yeah, I would recommend this race. I really would. It was a really nice festive, like post race festival. And it would have been great to have hung around a little bit longer and enjoyed that and kind of, taken it all in because it's in a really like lovely park. But again, we ate and got in the car and drove. But if you're looking at a really great and easy weekend to get in two states or two marathons in one weekend, if you're crazy enough to do it, I'd recommend this. Because it wasn't a hateful drive, driving from Kansas City up to Des Moines, and it was pretty organized both races. So I never felt like, um, I don't know. I just never felt like there was an issue, at least, getting to the start line and getting into the races. We will talk about Des Moines next week because you and I have a little bone to pick with the Des Moines, the Des Moines, Iowa marathon.
Yeah, there will be some words about Des Moines.
I'm just gonna say the next week's episode is gonna be a little spicy. It's gonna
It
be
might be a
spicy.
little spicy. I may have
It's
some
gonna be.
opinions. There may be some more opinions than normal.
You know what
Like
I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to rip out. I think I saved the letter that I wrote to the race director.
that'd be good. I do believe that I was shooting double birds across the finish line,
Yeah.
but that'll be a discussion for next week.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for joining us today. We've had a fun time discussing Kansas City and look forward to Des Moines next week. Please check us out on all our socials, Instagram, Facebook at Mile 20 Podcasts, and you can stream us wherever you stream your podcasts. Now go make Mile 20 your bitch.
Peace out.